Hey, what's up everybody? So today we're going to be going over some foam rolling and other self-myofascial release techniques that are going to help free up the shoulder area and then hopefully free up the neck a little bit and that, upper trap and those scalenes that are oftentimes contributed to either stress or just the positioning of our body when we're either texting or driving or typing, whatever that may be, or just kind of like the everyday stresses that some of us tend to hold our stress up in our trap in our shoulder area. Others tend to hold it down in that lower back area. Either way, it sucks, but we're gonna try to kind of free up. First, if you ever have any issues with overhead range of motion, sometimes it could be that you just have tight lats, and I mean that's one of the many things that it could be, but usually that's my first go-to because that's a pretty big muscle and it's a limiting factor. So you want to really make sure that you're going to check that first in trying to free that up. So with our foam roller, what we're going to do is set that up perpendicularly. If you want to think, if your lat is going to be running, kind of runs more medial to lateral, but we're looking at it right now as running it a little bit more up and down. And so we want to just kind of go set that foam roller up perpendicular to our body, just so we can get a good little rotation in there. And what you want to do is kind of, you can move it up and down, move it up a little bit. We don't want to necessarily roll the whole muscle. I kind of, like to break it up into sections and try to pinpoint some of those hot spots or some of those, and I'll also do the other side so you can kind of see this from the other angle. But that way you can pinpoint some of those hot spots and then hang out there for a little bit. So that's the key with this, is in order to get somewhat of a release, right? You're not gonna, usually with the foam roller, you're not gonna be able to completely release all that tension. So you go to, like a, sports massage or something like that to get a little bit deeper in there. But this will do the trick as far as like a weekly routine that you can incorporate. But finding that spot and then just really hanging out there until you either feel a little bit of a release, which to me usually feels like some heat, and then the tension kind of starts to subside. Usually it doesn't go all, everything go away, but it starts to lessen up, and then I kind of feel like a little heat burst, almost like something like I broke something up in there. So you can either go to your tolerance or until you feel something like that, as far as getting a little bit more of a deeper release. Okay, and so with this, if you find that, hey, I'm not really finding anything, then you can also move your arm around. And this usually is a go-to. I try to do this weekly, so mine aren't too bad, but if you're not used to this is going to be a little bit I guess eye-opening to how tight your back and your lats might be. All right, and so just getting some range of motion in there too is good if you can, but if you can't tolerate that, then just kind of hang out there for a little bit. All right, until, like I said, it could be a minute, could be 5 minutes, however much you can tolerate. I'm going to show you kind of what I'm talking about from that back side. And so same thing, setting that up perpendicularly, and I like to get a good rotation in there. That way I could kind of see and feel out if there's any underlying little, usually that teres minor along with the lat is usually what hangs us up in that, and it gives us a lot of pain in that shoulder sometimes, and even you'll feel that radiate in the front of the shoulder at times, but it just kind of spreads around. All right, and then so with this, we can kind of move around. We're really just trying to find a good spot. I call them my hot spots. So looking for a hot spot, gonna hang out right there. found one. And so once I find one, I'll hang out there for a little bit until that initial pain starts to kind of, get a little bit more mild. And then from there, that's when I'll start incorporating a little bit of movement in there. And it's not a lot of movement as far as, I'm still sticking around that spot, that little hot spot, but I'm also incorporating some movement within my arm, which gives me a little bit more access to some of those smaller muscles in there. Okay. And so once you've done that, that usually will take about, I'd say about 5-10 minutes. You'd probably want to spend about 10 minutes on one side because there's a lot of different little spots in there. But then I usually kind of just go into a stretch. I'll use my my foam roller to help out, and so you can kind of see I have my hands on there. And so I'll just kind of start off with that, hang out there for a little bit, and then kind of creep my way up. Each time just going a little bit further up and then hanging out down at the bottom of that stretch for about 15-20 seconds. Breathing through, really trying to open up my chest and retract my shoulder blades. Coming a little bit more forward. Getting your head through. And depending on how tight you are, you'll be able to feel that stretch all the way, even in your chest, shoulders, but that's a really good one for your lats. And if you want to go a little bit more specific, then you can set that foam roller up and then just kind of lean back, lean your butt back, but then extend that arm and really elongate that whole lat and that shoulder area. And then just, once again, if you need to set your arm down or just go to your tolerance, just go to where you feel comfortable with that. And then get a nice little stretch. You can even rotate if you want to get more of that lat, rotating towards the opposite side. And so I'm getting a really good stretch all throughout here. And then you can just switch it up on the sides on that one. All right, and so the next one we're gonna go into, so that should, kind of free up that lat area, but the next one we're gonna go into is our, I don't know if I was gonna shut that off for some reason, is our neck. All right, so you can use a tennis ball or you can use something, actually I do want to scoot a little bit closer to you all. Okay, do a little butt scoot. All right, so yeah, you can use a tennis ball or you can use like some sort of like a therapy ball. This one has a little bit less give. It's a little bit harder. So, and then it has some grooves on it, so it doesn't really move around. So with this, you get a good angle so you can kind of see. All right, so you want to set up, make sure that your neck is nice and long through there. I'll be facing forward on this. And so you can kind of just use it. I'll usually start higher up on the neck and then kind of work my way down. But initially I'll kind of just move it around just to get some initial blood flow, but not putting too much pressure. Not putting too much pressure, especially on the side of that spine. You definitely don't want to put any pressure directly onto the spine, but just kind of move it around on the muscles on the side of that, okay? And then starting from the top, just like every other area, when I'm working as far as any of these release techniques is just working little sections at a time, okay? And so not going too far into it as far as like, trying to get the whole main muscle, but just working at little spots and then not trying to aggravate. We're not really trying to especially in the neck area, the lat, you might kind of feel a little bit of aggravation in there, but especially around the neck and the spine, we don't want to, you might see a little guy come up, somebody just woke up. And so just applying pressure with your palm and placing that, on the side of your neck. If you find any of those little hot spots, everybody say what's up to Rico. If you find any of those hot spots, then hang out there for a little bit and try to get a nice release on that. Nope, this isn't your tennis ball. All right, or like I said, you can use, something with a little bit more, or something smaller to get into more of those little grooves in the neck. Yeah, and then as far as getting more into the trap area, you can kind of switch those arms up, switch those hands up, and going into, nope, no thank you. And then just kind of applying pressure. And then that also allows you to open up that muscle as you're doing that. And then a stretch that you could do with that to accompany that is just, kind of, I think that this works the best when you're sitting on a chair, or how you have something to grab underneath you, or you can use a dog to lay your arm down. I'm just kidding, but just setting up, and what you want to do is just try to sit up nice and tall and make your neck nice and long. And really, this is actually helping me because I can see my chin. And so we want to just keep the chin in the same spot, use that as a pivot point, and then just to really try to stretch as much as you can. And once again, we're not trying to force it or anything. We're just, after we've spent some time rolling out and going all along that whole upper neck and trap area, then we just, hang out for a little bit. No more than 20-30 seconds on each side. And then you can work the other side, same thing on that. Hopefully you don't have a little dog that tries to come up on you and steal the show, huh? All right. Well, I hope you can get some benefit from that. Like I said, if you ever, if you hold on to like tension in your neck, or especially in the shoulder area, then that's gonna help you out with those. All right, hope you have a great day.